starting our study of the hydrosphere. So I've put your new goals and objectives up here on the board in the usual place. Can somebody read the first goal up here?
I can understand the structure of the hydrosphere.
Of the hydrosphere. Can anybody tell me what you know about hydrosphere? What does that word mean? What, say that again, Denzel, I'm sorry. Water. So what part of it means water?
Hydro?
Hydro. Hydro means water. Very good. And sphere? You may have an idea about the meaning of sphere?
It's a shape.
A shape? Okay, so what might it pertain to? What could the hydrosphere?
Like it's around something.
What's that, Akasha?
Earth.
Earth. Very good. So it's the it encompasses all of the water on Earth. Very good. And the second part of our objectives here is that I can explain the water cycle through illustration. So I'm giving you an option of being able to illustrate what you understand about the water cycle today. So can anybody tell me what they know about water cycle? What do you guys know about it?
It's H2O.
It's
Okay, water. Okay, so the chemical formula for water is H2O. What do you know about the water cycle itself? What's involved in that?
It goes in a
Okay.
circle.
Okay, so
And
it's some sort of a circle?
Evaporation, condensation.
Okay, good.
I know the
So evaporation, condensation,
precipitation.
precipitation, good. Hold on just a second, let's see if we have any others that want to contribute. Anybody else know anything about what's included in the water cycle? Definitely includes water, and it goes through these different changes throughout the cycle, the different processes. So what else do we know?
Runoff.
Runoff, good. Very good. Okay, so what do we know? If you notice here, we have the states of matter. It's reappearing. We've seen this since nearly the beginning of the semester. So what do we know about the states of matter? What are the three states of matter?
Solid. And liquid.
Solid, gas, and liquid. Very good. So how is water found here on Earth? In what states would it be found? So it's found as a liquid.
Yeah.
And where would we find that? In the oceans? Good. Where else might we find it as a
Plants.
liquid?
Plant.
So in the plants, or plants need water in the form of liquid, so it's needed.
You can find H2O in plants too, like cactus.
Okay, so some of them store it, that's good. Water, so humans are made up of 70% water, that's right, just as the earth is, right? Okay, very good. So what other form on earth is water found in a liquid? In what other body of water?
Solid.
Okay, well, it's found as a solid, but let's go back to liquids. Tell me wait, you said in oceans, and where else? Where is water found anywhere else besides oceans?
Store.
Okay, you can buy it.
Water bottles.
Okay, so we can buy water.
On Mars.
Okay,
Water on Mars, they put that.
right, but we're talking about just here on Earth, so just pertaining to Earth. Where does water flow as a liquid? This you're talking about salt water. Is it found somewhere else?
Lake.
Lakes. Good. That's what I was going for.
Rivers.
Mount Rushmore.
Ponds, rivers.
Mount Rushmore.
Okay, it's found on mountains. Okay, we'll talk about how other things such as humans and plants need water, but so on mountains. Okay. So oceans, lakes, ponds, rivers, mountains. Okay, and then you mentioned, Isaiah, that water is found as a solid on Earth. Where might that be found?
In the refrigerator.
In the form of ice in Antarctica. So at our polar caps. polar caps as ice. Very good. So frozen water is part of our hydrosphere. So you guys named a lot of different places. Is there anywhere else? Can you think of where we get water here in our homes?
In the refrigerator.
Where would you think that we would get water in our homes?
The tub,
refrigerator.
the shower, the sink,
Okay, and where might that come from? What's the
the
source?
sewer.
Okay, those are different places that we
The
find water.
ocean or the lake or the rivers or ponds.
The
Okay.
air.
What about, have you thought, what do we drill when we drill for water?
Oil.
No.
Or we drill into the water for oil.
Drill into the,
Man,
drill into
the
where
ground.
for water?
The ground.
Oh,
Ground. So the ground is another source. So groundwater.
Like you
Good.
said,
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't, I had a couple of people answering. Okay, so, you guys now have defined hydrosphere. So that was one of our goals right here. So hydrosphere, you will need to write that in your, journals or in your notebook. And that is water. And then you guys said that found on Earth, so water on Earth. And you guys have given me several of the different processes that water undergoes in the water cycle. And then you've also given me several different places here where water is located. And I'm gonna add another couple of processes here on Earth that are involved in the water cycle, and that would be infiltration and accumulation. Okay, so those are some different things that you're going to want to consider here in just a second when I have you do your next exercise working with this. And there's one other thing that we need to do here. Number one, we need to brainstorm some bigger questions that you guys might have pertaining to the hydrosphere and the water cycle. Can you tell me any questions that you guys might have come up with when we're talking about this? Emerald,
What?
do you have any other questions that you might get? Isaiah?
what all can water do?
Okay, so what can water do? What do you mean, can you describe do?
I don't know. I just wanna know what water can do.
Okay, so maybe through the study of our vocabulary, we're going to learn some different properties of water. These are called properties of water with your new vocabulary words, so we might be learning more through that about what water can do through the properties. Akasha, did you have something to add, a bigger question about water?
Yeah.
What's that?
How do water?
I don't know.
How do water stay on the earth?
How does it stay on the earth? That's good because,
Gravity.
okay,
Well, I had no question. Remember we was watching that geographic thing, he was like the gravitational force keeps the water on Earth.
It fell off yesterday.
well, we don't know that of it to leave our atmosphere, so it's a closed cycle, that's right. So how does it stay on Earth? Hold on just a second, let's
How do
Yes.
we know the water's clean?
stay on Earth. Okay, so how do we know it's clean?
Yeah, because some of them water bottles be having dirty.
Okay, that's a good question
Like
too.
little stuff floating around.
So water
Like,
Why?
is clean or suitable for drinking, right?
yeah.
Okay, I have another one, or did somebody else have one you wanted to add? James, I think was next.
So, I'm just remembering this now about the show we watched the other day, that, that Einstein and, I forgot it, were, like, the one guy was, theory that it was straight in the atmosphere, and that, but they proved him wrong, because if he went straight, he would just fall down. But there's a certain
Gotcha, okay. Well, we'll explore that further. Good. Akasha, did you have something to add with our
Yeah.
essential questions? Go ahead.
Why? Oh. Why is water empty?
Why is it in us? So why do we need water so much? And do you know what does that remind you of anything else that we've been studying? What we've been reading?
The long walk to water.
A long walk to water, that's right. So that brings me to a question is, how can the earth have so much water, be 70% of water? How can it be made up of so much water and so many people on this earth have such a shortage of water? How can it be so scarce in places? So that might be some,
Saving their water, still no water. Amongst free people, they got it paid.
okay. So you think that some might have access, so they save it and it's more readily accessible and available, like you mentioned, it's in stores and in our refrigerators and stuff.
Isn't it a power plant or something that keeps the water clean in certain countries?
Maybe the power,
Like, it was something, in some places the water is like muddy.
You talking about, yeah, that's all you're talking about.
and that's something we've read where, you mean like where it flows as it's muddy or where it's in like a,
As it's
like in a
clean,
long walk to
like
water
where's it clean?
when Naya walks, she has to walk to like that muddy pond.
I don't know, it's
You remember?
some places it's like not water, it's their only water they have, it's not clean water.
I have a question, I don't know if that's like, does blood have water in it?
Hmm?
Do you remember that we talked about the liquid part and the solid part of our blood? And so it's a large percentage of water in our blood. Yes, that's exactly right, and that's why we get dehydrated, like when you have a fever, or if you're out in the hot sun, or exercising. Okay, so how is water so scarce in some parts of the world? So these are some bigger questions that we're going to be pursuing. So you want to jot these down in your notebooks, class. Okay, and then I'm going to give you a sheet of paper and I want you to draw what we've covered today. And I was just going to reveal to you that
Do we write these in?
this was the definition that I pulled up for you guys for hydrosphere. If you want to write this down in your notebooks as the definition of hydrosphere. So you should have your essential questions, your new vocabulary that you're going to be we're going to be working with throughout the next, this unit. And then you're going to have your definitions that we've just been able to come up with today. And if you guys will just separate your desk for a little bit, and you're going to come back together and be able to share, you'll be able to share your diagrams of your water cycle that you were able to come up with. Cooperation.
Water cycle.
You want to move over here? That's good. Okay. I'll get you some crayons. Here you go, Olin. So using your vocabulary and the processes that we have on the board right here, your processes, I want you to draw for me what you think the water cycle consists of here on Earth. Using these processes and using these places that you said that water is found on Earth, okay? Not yet, but you're going to get to in just a little bit. You'll get to use your computer. Okay, so you're going to use the vocabulary that's on the board and on the different processes of what water undergoes here on Earth. Okay, so you're going to use those and draw what you think the water cycle consists of.
So I can just draw a big circle with water.
If you feel like it's circular, or you might can show how you think that the water cycle is circular.
See, I can draw.
That's you just do the best you can to illustrate it.
When I draw it like that,
You guys can share right there.
you just say it like this.
Thank you, James, for correcting that for me. All right. So if you guys will work on drawing that, there's one other thing I want you to consider while you're drawing is the percentages you think each location of water contains, like where the water, if we start out with 100%, what percentage do you think is found as solid ice? Or what percentage do you think is found in the oceans? So if you have 100%, you need to denote to each location of where water is found here. How much do you think is found in the ground? So you're going to consider all of these different places that water can be found, and these are the different processes that it undergoes through the water cycle. Okay? Water cycle processes.
You said we got to state with everywhere we can find water.
You would draw a representation in your diagram of where you think water is found on Earth.
Every place?
If you can, include every one of those. Polar ice caps, oceans, lakes, ponds, rivers, mountains, groundwater. And then you would talk about where it's found, where else it might be found. If there's anything else that you need to include in your cycle, then make sure you add it, okay? All right, and then you're gonna, Emerald, if you'll just turn away from James and so that you guys aren't sharing right off, and then you're gonna turn back around and share with your partner. How is water so scarce in some parts of the world, considering that our Earth is made up of 77%?
Can I just draw like a ground with some water in, and then the ocean?
Absolutely. And then talk about where it will go. Think of it as if you were one drop of water in this earth, and on this earth. Where do you go? Think of you can think about it that way, and then you can draw it the best you can. You're drawing the water cycle based on the processes that you guys brainstormed. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation. Is there any way that you can show me precipitation, evaporation through using polar ice caps, oceans, lakes, ponds, rivers, mountains, and groundwater? You have no idea how to maybe get started? Do you have any idea, just anything you can tell me about the water cycle that makes you think of? What is precipitation? Could you when you think about where the rain goes when it falls, where does it fall? And then where does it go?
Stays in the ground.
Some of it might seep down into the ground. What word looks like seeping in of the processes? Which word looks like seeping in? Of these processes right here, which word might mean seeping in? Anything that
Divine.
accumulation? So it might accumulate and then it would infiltrate somewhere.
Is that in order?
There's not really an order. It's not technically a specific order there, but those are just all the different processes you should consider. He said that precipitation is rain, so if you think of yourself as a raindrop, where do you go from there? Where does it come from?
The air.
Okay, so that would be another place that we don't have up here, that water's located, right? So it's in our air in what form? Cloud. said liquid here, but we also have the gas form that Emerald just informed us of, in the form of clouds, which is what? What's water called as a gas?
A cloud?
A cloud, but what is that also called? Water vapor, thank you. So water vapor. So that's something else you might want to include in your diagrams. And I am gonna display these, so you guys will need to put your names on the back.
No, you're not explaining.
Yeah, sure. You can make it clouds, you can call them you want to. I love pink clouds. Okay, how are we doing? That's looking good.
Looking good.
You're doing great. If you mess up, I have another sheet of paper, okay? So then it might fall down to the earth as what? Right? Okay, and then where does it go? To the ground? Yep. So then you show the ground here, you want to draw some ground? And then it might, you could show how it would do what in the ground. And we just talked about whales, how we feed whales.
I need to restart.
What you need?
I need to restart.
You need another sheet of paper, okay. I had a few extras, I thought. Here they are, Isaiah. This is a good size, so we can get them all up on the board. There you go, thank you.
I'm not putting my name on it.
So complicated.
You're showing a lot of the process.
I don't know how to draw those
Good.
circles.
What happens, to you tell me, what do you remember about that?
I don't know.
What do you think it is?
Water.
Water, and where do we find it? So you said you had evaporation here, so maybe, so it goes up, right, when it evaporates, and then what does it do? So it has to condensate to get heavier to fall down, right? So that happens where? Up in the, that's fine, that's fine. You can write your title, you could just call it water cycle, or,
I'm doing something soon.
water on earth. Another, something we didn't, define, guys, is what is the water cycle?
I just told you.
What, just basic definition, what can you give me of water cycle?
Cycle that repeats.
A cycle that repeats of what? Of water on earth.
A liquid.
I can't go in circles.
You need a, something to draw, here you go, look, how about this? Is this big enough, Emma? Can you do that? You can use something if you need help. I'm not sure, this is your
Do
drawing.
we need the back?
What do you think precipitation is? If you
We just put our name on it.
hear on the news that there's gonna be precipitation, call them off your desk there. Precipitation. Okay. So, the different forms, is it always just rain?
Oh,
That can be frozen too, can it?
snow.
Uh-huh. You could mix it with some snowflakes. You could just draw little stars, couldn't you? Like kind of, like a little snowflake, so you have some rain over here and that. You're showing a pretty all-inclusive cycle there. Okay, you can just write what's happening in each square if you would like to do that. Just write underneath, maybe what it's an example of. if you wanna use your words in addition to your picture. Yes, sir.
This is the most useless color.
So maybe and just make little staples. That's all, I try to do gray cards, that's good, because that's normally what we see when it rains out. That's true. We don't have white fluffy clouds when we used to have rain, do we? Okay, so just little starred ones.
You can see it, but you can use one.
Okay, so you could just kind of make a little start, that's the your snow. We'll just, you don't want to, like this.
Pitching it like one of those weird looking
Did you have a question?
The hour.
The eye infiltration.
What is that?
When rain falls down onto the earth, then what happens to it? It'd be on the sidewalk? Okay, and snow, you guys like it, you wanna see accumulation, so it might accumulate first, and then what does it do? So it accumulates, does it just stay on top of the ground forever? No, so where does it go? So it goes into the ground. So which one looks like into the ground? Something up there that would be into the ground. Infiltration, yes, in, meaning like into. So anytime that it's talking about infiltration, then it's having to be absorbed down into something, right? If you guys want to slide your chairs closer to your partner, then you can slide over and share your ideas. And you guys can take some more time and finish up your drawings, that's fine. But I just want you to slide closer to your partner and just kind of share your ideas now. Isaiah, if you'll just come back over here with Olin for just a little bit. You can separate that out if you would like. And then Zale, if you'll come back over with this group. Thank you. I'll help you slide. Okay, if you guys will just share your ideas as to what you've come up with and just discuss what you've drawn so far.
Can you walk out to the wall for just a minute? Give me a minute.
Can you show them your diagram, please?
Can I, what's that A one do?
Accumulation. That's what you wanna see a lot of snow, for snow. A lot of kids wanna see accumulation of snow. So what does that mean? Guys, can anybody tell me what it means when snow accumulates?
Wait, what?
Accumulation of snow. Anybody wanna take a guess?
Is it when it melts?
Not so much when it's melting. You guys wanna see it accumulate.
Building up.
It will build up. To accumulate means it builds up, exactly. That's what you want to see a lot of normally, because what's that mean? We won't have school. You're doing right. You got a good.
Is this how you do it?
Sure. It's up to you. You don't have to go over yet.
Whoa.
Isaiah, could you come over and just sit with Olin for just a little bit and just talk about your ideas, and you can go back and work separately.
Yeah.
Go ahead on that there.
Oh.
Can I see it? I got
those right here, okay? Guys, let's practice what we know we're supposed to do in our groups. When we're in a group, we share our ideas, okay? Because we can learn from each other in our groups. Something you might not have included, you can learn from your group mate, okay? Okay, guys, I'm gonna project a water cycle right here. This might help you out and give you just a more comprehensive idea. So it is a circle, as you guys have said. This illustrates the circle with the arrows, and this shows you the different processes. So we have evaporation from the oceans and from the land, evapotranspiration. I think that Isaiah even said transpiration earlier. He said, what does it do from plants? So it's transpiration.
Can I have different paper?
Yes, that's okay.
I can't draw.
You're doing great. You can get this. You guys have worked really well together in your groups. You're doing great. Okay. All right, so this shows you a good illustration. We had a group in the other class that was saying something about volcanoes, and there is even volcanic steam. So there's a lot to consider. No landform on Earth. It's all one big circle, so they all contribute in one way or another. That and no body of water will be excluded from the water cycle. It's all included.
Mr. Hall,
So if there's anything you want to add to your pictures, you'll do that now. And then you need to denote the percentages that you think of where water is on Earth. If you want to write this on the back, that's fine. I just need to know your prediction, your guess before I show you the percentages, okay? All right, so you might take your time and write the percentages right on the back.
Well, I have to.
Yes, sir?
Look, it's about what? What did you talk about?
Okay. We're all participating. So here you go. So you write down your percentages right here on the back of where you think it's found. In polar ice caps, you can write what percentage you think that water is found in the form of ice on Earth. What percentage do you think is in an ocean, is salt water? Right there.
It's only 70%. 70% of water cover the earth.
Here, I'll show you that exact percentage.
No, almost 70%. We think the rest of the water is.
$71%.
What did you say?
71% covers, water covers the Earth's surface.
See, I said it.
But you were doing something different. You told me a different percentage. You said, don't tell anybody else. You just write down your ideas, okay?
90%.
Well, you don't have to work as a group with this part. Your percentages you determine on your own.
I ain't done
So just flip it over, or if you want to, like I said, you can just
Can I
write
put
your,
names on?
write your percentages where you think that it. You may. Go ahead. What's that?
Really?
Okay. just remember that these are gonna be displayed, so. Okay, so just flip it over and give me your best guess as to where you think water's found in the form of ice, in the form of oceans, lakes, ponds, rivers, groundwater. What percentage? If you have 100% starting out, what percent, or you can do a pie graph and tell me what percentage is oceans, what percentage is, okay? Do you know how to do the pie? Okay, I'll show you. You could do a graph, and you could say whatever percent you think is ocean,
I'm about to do that.
what percent you think is groundwater. Don't use my pieces of my pie, I'm not sure, I have to look at the,
Oh, you wanna start out with that?
you can, you can use your circle right there if you wanna do that, and draw a pie graph that shows. And so I was just telling them that you might choose a pie graph to show where you think, the percentages lie as far as where water's found. What percent you think is ocean? What percent you think is, in the ground? Okay, do you need something round? I can give you that too. You want something round to trace? For your pie graph?
What is all the places you from? Groundwater, ocean, what, mountains, what?
Wherever you think, if it's found in the ground, if it's found in the form of ice, if it's found in the ocean, where do you think the percentages are?
Look, it says, really,
Do you want, now you need to flip over and write your percentages of where you think each of these things are found. Where is it found as a solid? Like, you could just write what percent you think is found. Just write it right here on it, so you would say, how much on Earth is, water found in the form of ice?
No.
So here's the illustration. Emerald, did you get a chance to look at this? Okay. So this is showing you where it's found. Okay, does anybody want to tell me their before and after guesses of their percentages?
Nope.
Cause I already did mine.
I put 40. No, I put 50.
Let's give the rest of them a
12,
chance. Okay,
74.
hold on just a second.
Can I teach you a little bit too?
You need to help me. What would you like to say? Tell the class.
What
That's
would I
what I
like
did
to say?
About how do you feel and water stuff like that. What do you think this is showing here compared to what we had brainstormed and found?
Got everything.
It's pretty complete, isn't it? A comprehensive view of where it all is on our pond.
It's all there.
What's that?
Yeah, it's all there.
All there. So that's a pretty comprehensive illustration, huh? But there, we have some other good ones that we're able to illustrate. Says, everybody had time to do your percentages?
Yep.
No? Well, let's flip over and take a second to do that. You can go back and finish your illustration. If you would just give me your best guess as to where you think. It's 100%.
Did you say 103?
No, 100% is your total. You can't have more than 100% of a pie.
I might just put numbers.
It needs to total 100, Akasha.
What?
I'm not
It
bad.
should total 100. You can't have more
Chill.
than 100% of a pie.
Okay, there, 100. It don't need no.
I think I'm about there.
Okay.
pass.
It's almost done.
Once you got 300%.
You can't have 300%.